To date, we've drilled about 130,000 meters to achieve that resource of 35 million tons. Every time we put a drill bit in the ground, we find something. At the moment, we've only drilled about 3% of our total tenement package, and the entire package is prospective.
Welcome to the Assay TV. Thank you for tuning in, where today I'm joined by Keith Muller, the CEO of Atlantic Lithium. Atlantic Lithium are a lithium-focused exploration and development company with assets in West Africa. They also have their flagship Ewoyaa project, which is set to become Ghana's first ever producing lithium mine. So welcome, Keith. It's great to have you here on the Assay TV. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Katie. Thanks for having me.
Right, so just to kick things off, can you give us a quick overview of Atlantic Lithium and its flagship projects?
Certainly. So we're a dual-listed company with assets in West Africa, Ghana. We're listed on the A market as well as ASX. Our flagship project is the Ewoyaa lithium deposit in Ghana. It's a great deposit. We've grown it now to almost 35 million tons over the last couple of years. Great infrastructure. We're very close to the deep sea port of Takoradi, only 110 kilometers away. Nice, good bitumen roads all the way. A lot of infrastructure around us. We've got both hydro and solar power running across site. So from a logistical perspective, couldn't ask for more.
Excellent. And so the big news, as of last week, you were appointed as CEO. Congratulations for that. Can you tell us a little bit more about Atlantic's decision to appoint a new CEO?
Certainly. So I joined Atlantic about 6 months ago as COO to help progress the study phase of the project. But we're at a stage now where we're ready for FID. We're in the permitting phase. And the next step of the project is to start developing and go into production. I've got a great background in spodumene mining. Prior to joining Atlantic Lithium, I was running Allchem's Australian business, in particular the Mount Cattlin lithium mine. I've been there for many years through the highs and the lows and the bust of spodumene. So not only learned a lot about spodumene there, but also learned about the cycles and ensuring that the business is set up to be robust for the pricing cycle that's ahead.
And so, as you said, you've got quite a history in the industry. What actually made you excited about Atlantic Lithium? What made you decide to join it as a company?
Sure. I think there's three things when you look at any spodumene mine that's really important. The first one is mineralogy. Secondly is head grade, and then lastly is logistics. At the Ewoyaa, we have all three of those, and I think we rank pretty well compared to our peers in all three of those categories. Very simple metallurgy, coarse grain spodumene, very high grade of almost 1.25%. And as I explained before with the logistics, the proximity to port. So you really can't ask for any better project at the moment.
So you've mentioned the infrastructure of the project. Let's look a bit more about the updates you provided. So you recently released a resource and project development update. Can you just tell us a bit more where the project's at, what's happening there, exploration-wise, any detail?
Sure. So in February, we released an update on our resource. We're now sitting at 35 million tons. We started drilling the project in 2018. And since then, about every 6 months or so, as you do as an explorer, we've upgraded that resource. We declared our maiden reserve in September last year of 18.9 million tons. That was still based on a 30 million ton resource. So now sitting at almost 35 million tons. And what's really promising during this entire exploration phase, we've seen head grade remain pretty constant, which gives us real high confidence in the continuity of the ore body. So we're looking to update the reserves with our DFS that's coming out soon to see that maiden reserve of 18.9 being lifted up to reflect the 80% of our resource now sitting in measured and indicated.
And in terms of next steps, what are we looking at timeline-wise?
Sure. So next steps for us at Atlantic, at the moment, we're working our permitting. So we've submitted our mining lease application in September. We've done a couple of rounds with the regulator. Since then, we've also expanded that mining lease. So when we did our resource update in February, we realized, and this is a great problem to have, we realized that some of the deposits that we are now bringing into the mine plan is sitting just outside of this ML. So we've expanded that ML, which means we had to resubmit that application to ensure we capture the entire footprint that we are interested in. So that has put a bit of a couple of months on the application process. We're now in final discussions with the regulator, and we expect to receive that permitting within the next quarter or two.
Excellent. So notably, Ewoyaa is set to be one of Ghana's first ever producing lithium mines, which is quite exciting. And what challenges do you see cropping up in terms of being the first there?
Well, I think lithium is very different than what gold is. So Ghana is a well-established gold jurisdiction. I think they're the 6th largest gold producer in the world at the moment, with 16 active gold mines. Gold processing is a little bit more challenging, both from an environmental perspective and the impact on the community and its surroundings with the tailings dams that's created. Lithium is great from that respect. We have got no inherent dangerous chemicals or any material in our process plant. Our tailings dam are very small and encapsulated in waste rock, so very safe from that perspective. So I think one of our key challenges in such a strong gold mining jurisdiction is an education piece, both from, on the regulator side as well as the community surrounding our project.
Certainly, very exciting. So in terms of shareholders and value, and what excites you the most about this project? What do you see them being most interested in terms of opportunity? Sure.
So to date, we've drilled about 130,000 meters to achieve that resource of 35 million tons. Every time we put a drill bit in the ground, we find something. At the moment, we've only drilled about 3% of our total tenement package, and the entire package is prospective. We're taking a progressive, methodical approach to our exploration activities. So now that we have Len Kolff, our outgoing interim CEO, completely focused on business development, and also as our chief geologist, that really gives us the ability to focus on growing the portfolio and expanding the resource. But at the moment, at where we're sitting, we've got a critical mass. This is more than enough to start progressing and building and developing the mine. So we don't want to take our focus off exploration, but certainly where we are heading in the next 12 to 24 months is we can get to market.
Absolutely. And I guess in a broader sense, in terms of the energy transition, people say we're in the midst of a super cycle, and lithium has definitely been at the epicenter of that. Do you see that continuing, the demand, the high prices, or do you see it kind of curving down a little bit in months to come?
Well, look, I think there's plenty of opinions out in the market, but the consistent message between all the spectators are there's a structural deficit for the next decade or two. In terms of pricing, we're building a robust mine that can withstand any pricing cycle. There's a lot of upside for us, but even at a long-term price of, as we used in the PFS, of about $1,400 a ton, the NPV of this project is still $1.3 billion. If you look at where pricing is sitting today at $5,000–6,000 a dry metric ton, there's significant upside, 10–20-fold of what we're experiencing about 2 or 3 years ago. So we think that the energy transition is always going to require lithium. The periodic table is not going to change. Lithium is certainly going to play a vital role in battery chemistry going forward. So we don't see that in the next 10 to 20 years that this project is going to be mining, that there's going to be a significant downside. There's only upside in our opinion.
Excellent. And I guess in terms of rounding this up, it's been great to chat, but what milestones can we actually look out for and investors can look out for in the coming months?
Sure. So as I mentioned, we'll be releasing an update on our maiden reserve with our DFS, which now encapsulates 80% of the resource sitting measured and indicated. We're looking to release that this quarter, so late June that will be out. We also will then progress with our permitting, and we're looking to make a FID straight after our permitting. So we're getting everything in place to enable the board to make a decision on mining and building the project. So we'll be making that this year as well. And then in addition to that, we have we have redesigned the way that we look at this. We are doing it in 2 stages. Stage 1 of our project development is building an industrial size DMS plant to beneficiate spodumene as quick as we can. And then secondly to that, we are also looking at how we can add more value to the project through offtake of feldspar. There's a large ceramic industry in Ghana that we want to support. So there's an additional revenue stream there. We're also looking at how we can recover more metal out of the plant. So the DMS will typically give you a recovery of 60 to 70% of the metal going into the plant. We want to see how we can capture that 20 to 30% that at the moment is not making it to final product. We think there's a lot of value in that because there's a sunken cost already incurred, and we think it's a free metal sitting there to be extracted.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Keith, so much for joining us today. It certainly sounds like an exciting few months ahead for Atlantic Lithium, and we can't wait to hear how the project progresses.
Excellent. Thank you, Katie. Thanks for having us.